It's day 2 of Pope Francis's historic visit to Iraq. He's aiming to rally the country's minority Christian community, whose numbers have dropped significantly after years of war and persecution. The Pope began the day in the holy city of Najaf, where he had a private meeting with one of Iraq's most powerful figures in Shia Islam, the Grand Ayatollah Ali Sistani.
A meeting that was months in the making, every detail carefully planned. After a photo op, the two men spoke privately for 40 minutes. The Ayatollah reportedly telling the Pope he also believes Christians should be able to live in peace in Iraq and enjoy the same rights as other Iraqis. It's a powerful statement from Sistani, who rarely makes his opinions known. When he does, Shiites in Iraq and around the world take note. Later, the Pope arrived in the ancient city of Ur, known as the birthplace of Abraham, the biblical patriarch revered by Christians, Muslims, and Jews. A fitting place for an interfaith meeting where Francis underscored his message. Peace does not demand winners or losers, but rather brothers and sisters who, for all the misunderstandings and hurts of the past, are journeying from conflict to unity. In praying for peace in the Middle East, the Pope singled out Syria, ravaged by a decade of civil war. And he condemned religious extremists who use terrorism to achieve their aims. On Sunday, Pope Francis will see firsthand the destruction left behind by the terrorist Islamic State when he visits the group's former stronghold in the northern Iraqi city of Mosul.
The Pilgrim of Peace, as Pope Francis called himself, is aware of the risks he's taking amid an ongoing pandemic and a regional conflict. This is an emblematic trip, and it is my duty to a martyred land. But he is not traveling alone. He's protected by one of the largest security deployments in recent Iraqi history. 10,000 personnel by some estimates, including special forces, 24-hour drone surveillance, and undercover intelligence officers. It's the first visit by a pope to Iraq, and comes just 2 days after a rocket attack that seemed to put the trip in doubt. His first remarks in Baghdad acknowledged the difficult days most Iraqis have had to endure without a military escort. Over the past several decades, Iraq has suffered the disastrous effects of wars, the scourge of terrorism and sectarian conflicts, often grounded in a fundamentalism incapable of accepting the peaceful coexistence of different ethnic and religious groups. The name of God cannot be used to justify acts of murder, exile, terrorism, and oppression. For over 2 decades now, sectarian conflict has driven most of Iraq's Christians out of the country. In 2014, the so-called Islamic State began targeting Christians, driving hundreds of thousands more from their homes. The Pope's visit is a symbol of victory over this tide of violence. This cathedral in Baghdad was the site of a 2010 terrorist attack. The Pope's visit there drew strong reactions from the community. We feel indescribable joy, not only me but everyone, seeing Pope Francis in Iraq as a historic event.
I'm joined now by journalist Owen Holdaway, who's in Iraq following the Pope's visit. Owen, the Pope has met with the Grand Ayatollah Ali Sistani. Why is that meeting so significant?
I think because of the weight Sistani actually has within Iraq. He's essentially the head of the largest community, the Shia community of Iraq. I think the fact that there being a dialogue between the two of them is extremely important. Also, Sistani himself, he's very reclusive and rarely gives political or public statements. So I think the fact that they both also reiterated the need for, being one united Iraq and all Iraqis, regardless of faith, should live together in peace. I think that really emphasises and really has a lot of weight within the country and also within the wider Middle East.
What about non-Christians? How are they reacting to the Pope's visit?
I mean, very much so. I mean, I think they're very, very happy that the fact that they're showcasing a different side of Iraq. Iraq tends to be thought of, as a very sectarian country with a lot of conflict between the different ethnic groups, be that Sunni, Shia, Kurd, Yazidi, whomever. However, I think the showcasing of the fact that the Pope and his first trip to come to a foreign country before since the pandemic shows that that Iraq is not the kind of violent country that it's always perceived to be.
Yeah, indeed. What can we expect for the rest of the Pope's visit, rest of today and the next 2 days?
Well, he went to the city of immediately after that, and which is quite symbolic as well, because that's the founding place of all the three major religions, Abraham's supposed birthplace. After that, he's set to then hold mass back in Baghdad. Following that, he is then going to come up to Erbil, where I'm currently at the moment, and then go into Mosul and visit some very historic sites there, and then also head to the town of Karakosh, where he will also visit a church that was significantly attacked by ISIS when they controlled the area, and then finally culminates his trip being in Erbil, holding an event at the football stadium here.
Now, this is obviously historic and a very big first step, but what can the Pope realistically achieve as far as interfaith dialogue goes in the country?
I mean, he's not going to be able to disarm all the major groups and the major militias, and he's certainly not going to be able to stop some of the violence that's, some ISIS obviously is still operating in certain areas of this country, and here in Erbil, the US base was recently attacked by some Shia militias. So obviously he's not going to be able to end that. But I think particularly the message that came out of the meeting with Sistani does show that that more that are on a cultural level, on a communitarian level, maybe not on a political level, that there is a unity between the different sects and different groups within this country, and so it's a very powerful message that I think is putting forward for the country, and that itself will also have a strong political weight against the different political leaders who still may want to go down this sectarian route.
All right, journalist Owen Holdaway speaking to us from Erbil in Iraq. Thank you very much.